Hello everyone, welcome to the today's lecture, and today's we are going to discuss about the next part of renal physiology. And in renal physiology now we are discussing about the distal convoluted tubule. Okay, so in earlier lecture we already discussed about the glomerulus, okay, Bowman capsule, then PCT and then loop of Henle. Now we are going to discuss about the DCT. Okay, clear? So what happened in the DCC? But just quick recapping the earlier classes so that again a concept become for you and you can remember all these things what happened in the earlier section. So remember these, what happened in earlier section here. So look at here, what is the osmolarity, what kind of osmolarity we are getting here. It was 300 milliosmolar, and then again in the glomerulus filtrate, and here we have a GFR. Okay, according to the GFR was 125 ml per minute. Okay, it was that, and then after that there was a generation of various pressures through that GFR may occur, and then whatever the filtrate come in the Bowman capsule, and then the filtrate is coming into the PCT. So that filtrate having the osmolarity again 300 milliosmolar. Okay, now look at here, same osmolarity was reaching into the loop of Henle. So the osmolarity was 300 milliosmolar. Okay, clear everyone? Now in the PCT we are absorbing about 65% of sodium and 65% of H2O. Okay, that much H2O and that much sodium we absorb. Now in just earlier class we discussed about the loop of Henle, and in the loop of Henle we absorb almost 25% sodium, okay, and 20% H2O. That much amount of we absorb. So we absorb by here the sodium potassium 2 chlorides importer were present. Okay, so I am drawing over here. So these are the channels present here, and look at here, these are the sodium. Okay, these are the sodium moving in this direction, and then potassium moving in this direction, and then again 2 chloride moving in this direction. It was discussed in the last class, and these sodium, potassium and 2 chloride were transported via these channel. Okay, these channel. Okay, so the sodium moving out, and then potassium moving out, and then chloride moving out. Okay, clear? These are the sodium, potassium and chloride moving out by this channel. This way we are maintaining medullary osmotic gradient. So the osmotic gradient was maintained around like 300 milliosmolar to 1200 in this direction. Okay, it was already discussed by us. Okay, so when we moving down, that was it increasing the osmolarity. Okay, and then look at here, we also discuss about this vasa recta. In the vasa recta क्या हेल्प कर रहा था, what kind of help it is doing? It is basically maintaining the osmotic gradient, interstitial osmotic gradient. Clear? So it was helping in counter current exchange. Basically it is a counter current exchanger. Okay, it was act as a counter current exchanger and help in maintaining interstitial medullary osmotic gradient. Okay, so these things we already discussed in the last class, and here was the aquaporin channels. Here was the aquaporin channel, and these aquaporin channels basically what they are doing, by these we are absorbing water in this direction. Okay, so here we get the hypertonic solution, and here we get the hypotonic. Okay, clear? And the osmolarity we are getting is around 100 to 200 milliosmolar. Clear everyone? Now this is the area of DCT. Okay, Now we are dividing DCT in two parts. This part, this and this part, basically here we are dividing it in two parts. So the earlier part is known as a early DCT, and this part, basically this part is known as a late DCT. It is known as a late DCT. Clear everyone? Now look at here what happened with this percentage. Now look at here. Now total sodium till now up to the loop of Henle, how much amount we absorb? Almost, if we are adding 65 plus 25, so almost 90% we absorb. Okay, so how much reaching it in this direction? Only 10% sodium reaching in this direction. Now look at here how much water we absorb, 65 and 20%. So basically it was 15 to 20. Okay, it was basically 15 to 20. So almost here the water reaching is almost 15 to 20% H2O reached for absorption purpose. Now look at here one important point regarding the DCT. It is about its structure, means like anatomy part. So the walls of DCT are impermeable for water. Walls of I again repeat, walls of DCT, distal convoluted tubule, is impermeable for water. But there is one important point regarding this. It is not strictly impermeable. If hormones are present, then walls allow absorption of water. I repeat, if hormones are present, then walls allow absorption of water. This is important star point, and this question is asked in so many examinations of competitions. Clear? Now look at here. Now this is the area where various ions are absorbed. So look at here. Here we have a 10% of sodium. Now look at in this area we have various kind of waters. Okay, so what happened? They taking 3 sodium outside. They taking 3 sodium outside and entering 2 potassium inside. Okay, so this is similar with the other part we already discussed. Okay, now these are the 2 potassium. Okay, and look at here, 3 sodium moving in outside. Okay, 3 sodium moving outside. Clear everyone? Now look at here what happened. Due to movement of sodium, there is a decrease in the concentration of the sodium inside. ओके, सोडियम बाहर जा रहा है, सो सोडियम की कंसंट्रेशन क्या हो जाएगी? कम. नाउ लुक व्हाट अबाउट द पोटेशियम कंसंट्रेशन? पोटेशियम इज मूविंग इनसाइड, सो देयर इज अ इंक्रीज इन द पोटेशियम concentration. Okay, now look at this. Here sodium concentration is lower and here sodium concentration is high. The sodium concentration is high at this stage. Now we have a specialized symporter. We have a what? A specialized symporter. That symporter is known as a sodium chloride symporter. This symporter is known as a sodium chloride symporter. Okay, this is known as a sodium and chloride symporter. Okay, so what happened? Sodium concentration is low here and sodium concentration is high here. So it taking sodium from this direction to this direction. Okay, so sodium is moving in this direction. Along with it, it also taking chloride. It also taking what? Chloride. So these are what? Chloride. So chloride are moving along with this symporter. So look at this, what happened with the chloride. Okay, so by this way we are absorbing sodium. Now look at this symporter is known as a sodium chloride symporter. Okay, so now what happened with this? Now these sodium will moving in this direction. Okay, and they moving outside. And what happened with the chloride? Now look at here. Here we have a special channel of the chloride ion, for the movement of the chloride ion, and these chloride ion further moving in this channel by this okay. So this chloride ion are removed from this side and absorbed in the blood stream. Clear everyone? Now this is the sodium and chloride transporter, and there are specific kind of drugs which act on this area. This is a very important category of drug which act on this symporter and inhibit this symporter. Okay, they inhibit this symporter. The name of the drug is thiazide. Name of the drug is thiazide derivative. So this will help you to understand about the thiazide. Clear? And this is also a mechanism of action of thiazide diuretics. Now look at here how much amount of sodium absorbed by this mechanism. So we are getting 10% and almost 4 to 5%. 4 to 5% is absorbed by this mechanism. Okay, 4 to 5% is absorbed by this mechanism. So how much amount is remaining now? Again 4 to 6 to 5% is remaining. Okay, so now look at in this area what happened with the other ions also. We want to absorb other ions like calcium, other ions we also want to absorb in this area. So now look at this. If there is a decrease in the concentration of calcium in the blood, okay, so calcium, suppose the person is hypokalemic, okay, so in hypokalemic condition what happened, we have a thyroid gland and as well as parathyroid gland. We have a what? PTH, parathyroid gland, and parathyroid gland is releasing PTH hormone. What they are releasing? Parathyroid hormone. They are releasing parathyroid hormone. Now this parathyroid hormone is released whenever there is a decrease in the calcium within the blood. Now it get the message that it needs to absorb the calcium from the tubular region. Okay, so what happened here? We have a specific receptor for parathyroid. Okay, so this is the receptor, this is a G protein couple receptor. Now the parathyroid drugs, parathyroid hormone is coming in this area and bind to this receptor of parathyroid. Okay, so what it will do? It activate G protein and it activate GS and it convert into GTP and then GDP. Okay, clear? Now it activate enzyme. That enzyme is known as adenyl cyclase. This enzyme is known as adenyl cyclase. Clear? Okay, now what adenyl cyclase will do? Adenyl cyclase activate cyclic AMP and then cyclic AMP further activate protein kinase A. Now these protein kinase A activate a special kind of channels. These are the basically a calcium channel. Okay, these are what? Calcium channel. So what calcium channel will do? Calcium channel will activate or phosphorylated by, these are phosphorylated by PK, protein kinase A. Okay, so due to phosphorylation of these channel, now these channel are open for calcium. Okay, these channel are open for calcium. So now calcium is moving in this direction. Okay everyone, now calcium is moving in this direction. Now just look at here calcium reached. Okay, calcium is reaching in this direction. Now calcium is high in this direction and low in this direction, so calcium is again moving in this direction in the blood. So we are able to absorb calcium in the blood, and now from hypokalemic to optimum level of calcium we are able to get. So here parathyroid hormone is helping for calcium absorption. Clear everyone? Or we can say calcium reabsorption. Okay, now just look at this here. Now we are moving in this direction. Okay, so now look at here, we have another hormone. I already told you that this area is not able to absorb water. Okay, but remember, on the presence of hormones, so now look at here, we have a adrenal gland. We have a what? Adrenal gland. Okay, we have what? Adrenal gland. Okay, and adrenal gland, the upper part of it help in the release of aldosterone. It help in the release of aldosterone. Okay, this is the hormone released by these cells. Okay, so now what kind of condition can stimulate the release of aldosterone? Now look at here, if there is a high amount of angiotensin second, if there is a high amount of angiotensin second, as well as there is a decrease of sodium, there is a decrease of sodium as well as increase of potassium. Okay, these are the conditions which stimulate aldosterone gland. These stimulate aldosterone gland, as well as one of the important hormone, corticotropic releasing hormone, CRH. One of the important hormone, corticotropic releasing hormone, also activate these aldosterone gland. Okay, due to activation of these 3 points, okay, these 3 conditions, aldosterone are released. Now aldosterone is passed by lipid bimembrane layer. Now it reaching into the cell. Okay, now this is basically a steroidal hormone. Now steroidal hormone are act via nuclear receptor mechanism. Okay, so what they do, basically they activate. Now aldosterone is reaching in this direction and it activates aldosterone responsive element. Okay, it activates ARE, aldosterone responsive element. Now what aldosterone responsive element do? It generate 3 kind of proteins. Okay, it activate 3 kind of proteins. Okay, so these are a specific kind of proteins and generate basically a transporters. Okay, these are the various transporters. Okay, so what they will do, remember here, now just look at here, this will do movement of 3 sodium outside and 2 potassium inside. Okay, 2 potassium inside. Clear everyone? So now what happened? Inside sodium concentration is low. Sodium concentration going low. Okay, and potassium concentration going higher. Now what happened? Due to this, sodium concentration is low here. Now ARE will generate a channel which is able to absorb sodium ion, from late DCT. Okay, so now sodium is over here. Clear? Now what happened? And then this sodium is moving in this direction. So what happened? The concentration of sodium going up. Okay, clear everyone? You are able to understand these things? Now other point is what? Now look at here, the second point, what happened about the potassium. Now look at here, potassium is moving in this direction. Now potassium concentration is high here and potassium concentration is low here. So now potassium is moving in this direction. Clear? So now again potassium concentration going down. Clear everyone? So why aldosterone was released? In the blood there was a lesser amount of sodium. So now look at here, in earlier condition sodium was less. Now due to release of aldosterone there is an increase of sodium concentration. Now what happened with the potassium? There was an increase of the potassium in earlier condition. After releasing of aldosterone, there is a decrease in the concentration of potassium. Okay, so we are hypernatremic, or we can say maintaining the sodium level as well as maintaining the potassium level, which are required after release of aldosterone. Now look at the other important hormone. So other important hormone within this area is antidiuretic hormone. Antidiuretic hormone. Okay, so the name, remember the name, antidiuretic hormone. So it act against the diuresis. Okay, whatever the diuretic do, it do opposite action against the diuretics. Okay, so what diuretic do? The diuretic are removing sodium and hydrogen from the body, and it try to reabsorb the water. So in the presence of ADH, what happen? It activate aquaporin channel. What I am going to tell you, it activate aquaporin channels. So look at here, these are the aquaporin channel over here. Okay, so through these aquaporin channels, H2O will absorb. H2O will absorb. Okay, now this H2O, as I earlier told you, look at here, 65% is sodium absorb and 65% of H2O almost absorb. Here also 25% sodium absorb and almost 15 to 20% water absorb. It means water follows sodium. Okay, similarly, like whenever we have some Bollywood heroes, so some of the Bollywood heroes we try to follow them. Okay, so similarly here just consider like that, sodium is a hero for water. Okay, sodium is hero for water. So what water will do? The same thing, whatever happen with the sodium, same thing happen with the water. So similarly, sodium is water is also reabsorbed here. So now look at here, there is an increased amount of H2O over here. Okay, there is an increased amount of H2O over here. There is also increased amount of sodium here. So whenever sodium and water increase, it will increase blood pressure. It will increase blood pressure. Remember this point, whenever we have a high amount of sodium and high amount of H2O, H2O may increase blood volume. Okay, H2O may increase blood volume, and whenever there is an increase of the blood volume, blood pressure will increase, because volume always increase hydrostatic pressure and it increase blood pressure. As well as we all know that in the case of blood pressure, high blood pressure, we are not taking salt from outside, extra salt, we are not taking extra salt. So look at here, in our body already extra salt is present in the blood, that's why we are not taking extra salt. Okay, so this is the action of antidiuretic hormone. Okay, so the antidiuretic, I earlier told you that in the presence of hormone, this late DCT is try to absorb water. Okay, so these things I discussed with you guys. Clear everyone? Now this portion is about the collecting duct. So in next video we will discuss about the collecting duct and action of antidiuretic hormone, which is more acting in this area as well. So we will discuss about these points. Okay, so now I am trying to summarize you the points of today's lecture. Now look at here, this is about the DCT. Okay, this is about the DCT, and our first point for remember is it is impermeable for H2O, but H2O absorption depend on the hormone release. Okay, this is the first point. We are again the next about the sodium and chloride absorption. So how sodium and chloride are reabsorbed by DCT, distal convoluted tubule. So we have a sodium and chloride symporter present here. So symporter means same direction movement. So both ions are moving in the same direction. Then role of PTH, parathyroid hormone, and it act on low level of calcium. It act on low level of calcium, and we are absorbing with the help of parathyroid hormone. Okay. Then role of aldosterone. So we just remember the role of aldosterone when, in what kind of condition can try to release aldosterone. So these are the condition: angiotensin second presence, low level of sodium and high level of potassium, as well as corticotropic releasing hormone presence will activate aldosterone release, and aldosterone generate ARE. Then ARE generate three kind of specific protein. So one proteins are used for sodium and potassium transport. So sodium ion concentration may goes down due to decrease in the sodium ion concentration. Sodium is absorbed from this area, okay, and potassium are released in this area. And again the same thing is that water follow sodium, so water is reabsorbed in the presence of antidiuretic hormone. And the last point is like 9 to 10% sodium is reabsorbed from DCT. Okay everyone, so I hope you are able to understand whatever I discussed in this lecture. Now in the last section we will discuss about the collecting time. Here I discussed some question related to DCT.
Hello everyone, now it's time for question round. Question number 1. In early DCT, which ion reabsorb mostly? A. Sodium, B. Calcium, C. Both of these, and D. None of these. Question number 2. In early DCT, calcium is reabsorbed with the help of dash dash dash. A. Aldosterone, B. Parathyroid hormone, C. Antidiuretic hormone, and D. All of these. Question number 3. In late DCT, water is reabsorbed with the help of A. Aldosterone, B. Parathyroid hormone, C. Antidiuretic hormone, and D. All of these. Question number 4. In early DCT, sodium and chloride is reabsorbed with the help of A. Sodium potassium 2 chloride transporter, B. Sodium and chloride symporter, C. Potassium and chloride transporter, and D. Sodium and chloride are not reabsorbed in this area of nephron. Question number 5. Water reabsorbed from DCT is dependent on A. Hormones, B. Proteins, C. Carbohydrate, and D. Catalyst. So I already given answer of all of these questions in my lecture. So go through with the lecture and answer in comment box.
So answer all of these questions and like the video, share the video, and remember subscribe the channel.